Now to Russia. Tensions boiling at the Russia-Ukraine border. President Biden, like the rest of the world, predicting now that Russia will invade Ukraine. It is the most recent foreign conflict that the U.S. sits right smack dab in the middle of. Nayyera joins us now to talk about it and how the president has done on international policy and foreign affairs in his first year. Nayyera, the Biden administration insisting that any Russian military move would be met with a swift, severe response. Your thoughts?
The United States has spoken in recent days about massive consequences that Putin would face if he invaded the Ukraine, specifically economic consequences in the form of sanctions. The United States also reiterating that it will support Ukraine to the tune of $600 million in military assets, which include Javelin and Stinger missile deployments as well. But President Biden stopped short yesterday of committing any ground troops or anything that looked like a United States direct use of force. He also created some confusion in what otherwise has been a consistent policy in his press conference yesterday, potentially setting the stage for an excuse for Putin to invade Ukraine. Take a listen.
I've been absolutely clear with President Putin. He has no misunderstanding. If any assembled Russian units move across the Ukrainian border, that is an invasion. But it will be met with severe and coordinated economic response that I've discussed in detail with our allies, as well as laid out very clearly for President Putin.
So that had been the consistent message. But yesterday, in his press conference, President Biden suggested that, well, if Russia just makes a minor incursion, that was the phrase that triggered concern around the globe, that a minor incursion may be met with more dialogue or something else. And that really scared. It spooked the Ukrainians, with the president himself responding immediately via Twitter, diplomacy via Twitter, saying, "We want to remind the great powers there are no minor incursions and small nations, just as there are no minor casualties and little grief for the loss of loved ones. I say this as the president of a great power." President Biden and the White House have spent the remaining hours since that press conference and those remarks cleaning up the commitment to the Ukraine, but Russian President Vladimir Putin will certainly take advantage of that opportunity and that chink in the armor to show that there may be some ability for Russia to incur, even minor or not, into Ukraine and not end up with a strong reaction from the West.
Brought up those memories of the Peacekeeper missiles back during the Vietnam era. When Washington misspeaks, it misspeaks loudly. I've only got about 30 seconds left, but the Remain in Mexico policy, or Title 42, still in place. That is a sore spot for many in the president's own party.
It is the promise that has not been met, which is to have a more humane immigration policy following the Trump administration's input of rules that not only separated families and children permanently, but also forced people to stay across the border in Mexico despite their asylum claims. It's a violation of international law, and that violation has now been cemented as part of the Biden administration. We also saw, Dell, something that we've been following very closely here on DC Today, that the treatment of Haitian migrants at that border has been very different than migrants from Central America.
You can fly into the country, for instance, from Afghanistan, but you cannot drive into the country from Central America. Nayyera, our Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent. Nayyera, as always, thanks for being with us.